Okay. So, welcome to the press conference by Prime Ministers of Finland, Mr. Petteri Orpo, and Prime Minister of Netherlands, Mr. Mark Rutte. First, we take short statements by both Prime Ministers, and then we have time for a couple of questions. Mr. Orpo, please.
Thank you so much. Dear Mark, Prime Minister, welcome to Finland and Helsinki. It's great to have you here. Finland and Netherlands are close allies and partners. Our bilateral business and trade relations offer a lot of potential. I want to thank you for your work. You have been a valued partner for Finland and for myself, personally in the European Council. We are very like-minded. It has been great to work with you. First, as Europe stands at turning point. We just had elections in the EU, we will have new Commission and new programme. Supporting Ukraine to fight against Russia's invasion is the most important task for all of us. We shall both continue our support bilaterally, as well as inside the EU and NATO. Our priorities for the Washington summit are strengthening deterrence and defence, and strong support for Ukraine. Finland's main objectives for the future Commission's programme are comprehensive security and improving Europe's strategic competitiveness. Here we are very much on the same page.
Yeah.
We are both leaders in clean transition. Sustainable energy solutions are a great interest to Finnish companies, and we can work together on this field. For us, clean transition needs effectiveness and technology neutrality. Regarding defence, we need to make the EU stronger. The Russian aggression remains the most acute challenge. We need to ramp up our defence industry. The European Investment Bank should take a stronger role in supporting the EU's defence. This would also attract private investments. We also need to boost European competitiveness to strengthen our economies. Here, funding must be based on excellence and open competition. In strengthening the EU's long-term competitiveness, well-functioning capital markets play a key role. Further development of capital markets union is important. We need to mobilize capital within the EU instead of European investment flowing into the United States. Dear Mark, I am happy to call you good colleague and a friend. Let us continue our good cooperation in the future, whatever role you will find yourself. I will support you, we will support you in NATO. You will be the great Secretary General.
Yes. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, thank you. First of all, a big thank you to, of course, the Prime Minister and the President for their warm welcome today. And dear Petteri, it's really great to be here. And thank you for the hospitality, and thank you indeed for the friendship between our countries, but also between the two of us. And it means a lot. And it is necessary because there is so much going on right now, both in the EU, and indeed we just had the parliamentary elections, but also when it comes to geopolitics, when it comes to security, the ongoing war in Ukraine, and the wider Russian threat that has cast its shadow over our continent, and particularly, especially here in Finland, where you share more than 1,300-kilometer border with Russia. That threat is almost palpable, is very much present. You can almost feel it. And let me underline, Finland's borders are EU's and NATO's borders. And that means that they are our borders, the Dutch borders too. And let there be no doubt, we will defend them. There's one thread running through all of these issues, and that is the need for cooperation and also unity to take us forward. And indeed, you're right, the bond between our two countries is a perfect symbol of that. The Netherlands and Finland are united partners. We work together closely at both the bilateral and at the EU level. And since last year, also as NATO allies. And I'm so happy that Finland joined NATO. Most of our discussion just now was about EU matters. And of course, in that connection, we looked at the results, indeed, of the parliamentary elections in Europe. And it's always hard for us as politicians to sum up in a nutshell what happened. But basically what we can see is that the broad center has held, despite a number of significant shifts. And that means that against that backdrop of this new balance of political forces, it is now important to get to work without delay. And we will start next Monday with the informal meeting, and then the week after there will be a regular European Council where hopefully we can take decisions on moving the whole thing forward. Because the current geopolitical context is demanding of us vigorous action. And yes, of course, we will focus on EU positions, but it is even more important we set the priorities now for the years ahead. That means that we have to elaborate on the strategic agenda that's well underway, but we are not yet there. And it is now essential that the EU strengthens its position in the world by, yes, increasing, you're totally right, this one of the many issues we totally agree, our competitiveness, but it means also directly and indirectly that through competitiveness we will increase our geopolitical capacity for action. The EU needs to be a self-assured global player. Without, of course, losing the sight of cooperating with others. And by the same token, we also need to prepare effectively for future enlargement of our union. We will discuss Moldova, we will discuss Ukraine, of course, the Western Balkans. They're all basically banging on the door. With many countries we have accession talks, or we will start them. But that means that also we have to prepare ourselves when accession one day happens. And this brings me to probably the main issue for the coming weeks, which is Ukraine, because it remains a concern for us all. The ongoing Russian attacks, they are inflicting enormous damage on Ukraine cities, on towns, on villages, and not to mention its critical infrastructure. And that's why we need to work with other countries on supplying, for example, air defense. We are working on Patriot systems for Ukraine to help defend against Russia's ongoing airstrikes against civilian targets. We have now a radar and 3 launches available for this, and we will work with others to make it into a complete system. And I was very happy today to learn from, I think, Reuters or other news agencies that also the US is thinking of supplying an extra Patriot system to Ukraine. I visited Kharkiv, and I've seen what it means if a city of more than 1 million people is basically unprotected when there is no air defense system, and that a Russian missile is there between 1 or 2 minutes and having huge impact on life, but also, of course, on civilian infrastructure. So we need to keep on supporting Ukraine as long as it takes and as much as is needed to defend itself against Russia's aggression. I'm very happy to take part later today in a panel discussion with President Stubb, which is a part of the Kulturanta talks. I think this same issue will be the key focus of that debate. I know you will participate tomorrow in those meetings. In short, there's so much to discuss about, and sometimes when you visit a partner which is very like-minded, you think, do we not have any problems in that relationship? Well, the basic problem here was that we didn't have any problems. But then it is the more important to visit, because it means that we can strengthen how we work together in NATO, in the EU. So again, thank you so much, Patrick, for this visit. Warm welcome. Thank you.
Okay, we have time for a couple of questions. We start with Helsingin Sanomat, Finnish National Daily, Oskar Jarronen, please.
Thank you. Here's a question for both. How big of a challenge is Hungary's upcoming EU presidency for Ukraine support, and should Hungary's term be postponed?
Maybe I can start. If you are president of the European Union, you have to be neutral. You have to find solutions, compromises, and they have said that they are committed. And this is where the story starts. We also have problems with, for example, to support Ukraine. It's clear that we have to support Ukraine. We have 26 countries are united, and Hungary, Viktor Orban, he must understand that he have to come inside. If we don't have solution with 27, we have to find solution between 26.
Completely agree, and it might be a help that he is chairing the union for next 6 months, because the one having the rotating chair of the EU Council is also the one having to make the compromises, so it could also be helpful. And we know that Viktor Orban and his government has some strong positions on many issues. So far, and sometimes it took too much time, but we have always been able to somehow get to an agreement at the end. And one of the things I think we all have to do is have even more discussions with him, also bilaterally, to really engage Hungary even more in the European issues. But yeah, completely agree.
Then Finnish broadcasting company YLE, Hanna Visala, please.
Thank you. I have a question to you, Mark. You are the #1 candidate for the next chairman of the NATO. How do you see Finland's role in NATO, and is the Russia biggest threat?
I was probably one of the most happiest when I learned that Vladimir Putin achieved a first own goal in a long row of many own goals on that night, end of February, when he was able to bring the support in Finland for NATO membership, I think from 20-30% in opinion polls to almost 100%. So he achieved this, not probably his first goal, but I was very happy that happened. Of course, what was behind this was this full onslaught on Ukraine, totally unprovoked, unacceptable, running against all our values and our security interests. So, and Finland is, with its border with Russia, with your tradition of a strong military, having modern equipment, with a population which is willing to fight to defend this country, you are really an asset to NATO. And that's why I was always thinking, why are they not a member? and at least with all the awful things having happened since the end of February 2022, this is at least one small positive, but a big one, an important one. And at this moment, Russia, of course, is our main adversary. We have to fight them. We have to make sure that he doesn't win, that Ukraine wins this, because all our collective security is at stake here. And long term, we have to also be clear that Russia will not go away. It is there. And at longer term, we have to find, when this war ends and Ukraine has won, we will have to find longer term a form of a relationship with Russia. But at this moment, it's very difficult to foresee how that will play out.
Follow up, please.
One more. How united NATO is in this support, for example, if we think about Hungary?
I must say, yes, I know that, of course, Hungary has a few positions which differ from, let's say, the majority view, the overwhelming majority view within NATO. That's absolutely true. And Jens Stoltenberg was visiting yesterday. We have seen some of the press footage coming out of that, and I completely agreed with the Secretary General that obviously within certain limits, Hungary is allowed to have some of its own positions. That's absolutely true. But at the same time, overwhelmingly, NATO is united. Obviously, it is not NATO now fighting Russia. It is Ukraine fighting Russia, and it is individual NATO member states and others, also non-member states of NATO, who are supplying Ukraine with all the necessary equipment. For example, for the Netherlands, we have now committed overall 17 billion in military equipment, but also in reconstruction support. And I know that Finland is up there, high on the list in supporting Ukraine in every way it can. And of course, some of the big hitters like Germany, the UK, and the US are doing a lot. And that's crucial. Because again, this is not only about our values, this is also about our collective security and safety, and that we stay who we are, democracies, liberal democracies, united in the EU and NATO.
Thank you.
Last question by Helsingin Sanomat, please.
Thank you. Secretary General Stoltenberg has proposed a GDP-based yearly NATO support of at least 40 billion euros for Ukraine. What is your view on this plan?
Yes, well, there are two things. Yes, this is one, and the other, of course, is NATO having more of a coordinating role in the supply towards Ukraine in its effort to fight off this Russian aggression. I think we both, at least, let me speak for myself, we support both NATO proposals. I would have loved for the 40 billion to be a bit higher, because it is, depending on how you calculate it, it is not exactly what we hoped it would be, the 0.25% of GDP being spent the coming years consistently on Ukraine. But I think it is a good start, and at least with the 40 billion we will get continuity for the coming years, and more clarity and more predictability for Ukraine on what it can expect. And it means also that within NATO we can share the burden a bit more between the NATO member states.
I can continue by saying that Ukraine needs immediately weapons, more support, military support, financial support, political support. Situation is very critical, and we have to support all the initiatives we have on the table. Yeah. I was very happy yesterday when I read from the news that G7 has found a solution how to use frozen assets, Russian frozen assets, to finance Ukraine militarily. It was very important. Netherlands and Finland, Germany, many European countries have done a lot to help. If every country in NATO and in the EU level would do the same, in the same level, the support will be enough.
I agree.
Okay, that's the end of the press conference. Thank you,
Thank
Prime
you.
Ministers. Thank you, media representatives.
Thank you. Once again.